Talyllyn means only one thing to steam train enthusiasts around the world: an exceptional, narrow-gauge passenger-carrying railway, originally built to transport slate from quarries in the Welsh hills down to the coast. This terminus station is the gateway to a range of forest walks or an exhilarating climb higher into the hills. At the summit of the steep incline, abandoned rails stand out from the grass-covered track bed. An old winding house opposite, once with its great drum of steel cable, controlled the ups and downs of slate wagons on their journeys to and from Bryn Eglwys quarries beyond. Visitors can now enjoy a leisurely hike to explore the old workings, where once quarrymen toiled in their labours to extract the mineral treasure from these ancient hills. The village of Abergynolwyn was once supplied with its necessities by wagons lower down the steep inclined track, which branched off from the quarry line on the hillside. This line then followed its leisurely course down the valley to its terminus at Talyllyn. Originally designed as a transshipment yard, where slate wagons once filled the sidings, Talyllyn Wharf Station is now the main departure point for passenger trains on this 7.25-mile line operated by the Talyllyn Railway Preservation Society, which saved the railway from closure in the early 1950s. Two original Welsh slate wagons mark the entrance to a unique narrow-gauge railway museum. Here are gathered together locomotives, wagons, signals, and other equipment from narrow-gauge railways from all over Britain. Dot, this most elegant of small engines, was built in 1887 by Bayer Peacock for use in their Manchester locomotive works. These enthusiastic youngsters may well become future members of the Talyllyn Railway Preservation Society, and they will always be very welcome. The whole fascinating story of the transport of slate from the quarries to the coast is told, and how the introduction of steam traction overcame many of the problems. One can admire the products of those skilled craftsmen of the past, where time stands still for those wishing to reflect on those wistful days of yesteryear, or trace the history of a steam veteran such as Dol Goch, born in 1866, an original Talyllyn locomotive. When the McConnell family built their narrow-gauge railway in the 1860s, it was primarily for the practical purpose of carrying slate from the Bryn Eglwys quarries, which they owned, down to the coast for onward transit. After inspection by a Board of Trade official, who suggested certain improvements, the little line was given the green light to be open for passengers as well as mineral traffic in 1866. Over the ensuing years, the Talyllyn carried local people, many of them regulars, to and from work in the quarries, as well as serving the isolated communities along the route. In 1911, the McConnells sold their quarry and their railway to a Towyn businessman, Sir Henry Hayden Jones, MP for Meirionydd. He was a paternalistic employer with a social conscience who cared deeply about keeping this small community together by providing employment in his two concerns. By the 1940s, the railway had become very run down, owing to a general decline in the slate industry in Wales. However, Sir Hayden was determined to keep the railway running and made every effort to do so at considerable cost to his own pocket. Conditions deteriorated, and when Sir Hayden died in 1950, it really did seem like the end of the line. But a certain Mr. Tom Rote, who had discovered the railway and foresaw its fate, called a meeting together with several other individuals who were interested, and subsequently the Talyllyn Railway Preservation Society was formed. It progressed negotiations to take over the railway in its existing condition and to restore the track, locomotives and rolling stock and make it a going concern. It was apparent that the Talyllyn's future, indeed its very survival, lay in the development of passenger traffic by attracting tourists and visitors to the region during the holiday season. One of the first major tasks was to clear the permanent way of overgrown hedgerows and overhanging branches, and this is a job which has to be carried out constantly today. Nowadays, mechanical methods are devised to make such jobs easier wherever they can be applied. Talyllyn, situated on the Cambrian coast between Aberdyfi and Barmouth, is served by the modern diesel trains of British Rail, which follow a scenic route as good as anywhere in Britain. With its bracing seafront and mild climate, Talyllyn is an attractive town on the edge of the Snowdonia National Park. Modern shops and hotels, catering for all tastes, make it a good touring centre. Between the hills, the winding road inland along the valley of the River Vathew reveals some of Mid Wales's finest scenery for the enjoyment of motorist, cyclist or walker. The climber, too, may care to try his skill on the lofty crags of Bird Rock, where many seabirds and even cormorants have made their nests. On the edge of the town is Talyllyn Pendre Station, with its locomotive shed and carriage sidings. Here, preparations for the day's services start quite early. Everything is carried out to ensure that no undue delay can occur to the very strict timetable that applies to the railway, especially during the busy summer season. Built in 1864 for the opening of the line, locomotive number 1 Talyllyn receives a final checkover from its crew before its day's duties. For many years, this locomotive was a mainstay of the railway, and now, after many overhauls and modifications, has become a fine example of narrow-gauge steam power. Pendre workshops, alongside the locomotive shed, are fully equipped for maintaining and building locomotives, coaches and wagons, both for the Talyllyn and outside customers, a useful form of revenue. A new locomotive, number 7, named after Tom Rote, a founder of the Talyllyn Railway Preservation Society, is taking shape here. When completed, there will then be 6 steam locomotives in service, along with diesel locomotives, which are used mainly for works trains and shunting movements. The line follows the southern slope of the Vathew Valley on a steadily rising gradient inland from the coast. driver keeps everything under control, the fireman has to ensure a good head of steam by well-placed shovels full of black diamonds just at the right time. True Talyllyn teamwork here. Peter Sam is a cousin of Thomas, the tank engine, whose creator, the Reverend Audrey, based some of the small engines of his famous children's stories on the Talyllyn Railway locomotive designs. The class from Talyllyn School is having a special train trip today, a mobile geography and local history lesson combined once they're all aboard. The 3/4-mile section of the main line beyond Abergynolwyn, once only used for goods and mineral trains, is known as the Nant-Gwernol extension, with the Forestry Commission private road crossing now fully protected. The extension to this station was opened by the well-known broadcaster Mr. Winford Vaughan Thomas in May 1976, and regular passenger traffic commenced shortly after. In May 1980, another special ceremony took place. Aided by a countryside commission grant and with the cooperation of local landowners and the Forestry Commission, a new footbridge constructed by the railway was officially opened by Lord Parry, chairman of the Wales Tourist Board. This footbridge near the station has opened up a series of delightful forest walks in the Nant-Gwernol area, which was once almost inaccessible to the casual visitor and tourist. In acknowledgement of this enterprise, the Talyllyn Railway Preservation Society received a Prince of Wales Award. Talyllyn Wharf Station has seen many improvements and alterations since the reopening ceremony in 1951 to cater for today's passengers. The facilities it provides help to make a return journey on the line a very pleasurable experience. All 5 of the original coaches have been restored and are in regular use, together with more recent vehicles built to meet present-day traffic requirements. Also in use are coaches from other long-since-closed lines, such as the Corris Railway and Glyn Valley Tramway. All regular train services call at Dolgoch, an intermediate station where locomotives replenish their water supply. Many visitors travel here to view the famous waterfalls and enjoy the seclusion of this wooded glen where only the sound of tumbling water disturbs the silence. Abergynolwyn, 6.5 miles from Talyllyn, was until 1976 the upper terminus for passenger trains. It can be the start of a pleasant hour or two exploring the village and surrounding countryside. A longer outing can be undertaken further up the valley beyond Abergynolwyn to the peaceful Talyllyn Lake, an idyllic spot on a summer's day. Abergynolwyn station has been much improved since those early days. The present traditional style building incorporates a refreshment room and gift shop, as well as a small booking office. Ample time is allowed here on a return journey. Quarry siding, one of the passing loops is situated, the points being controlled by a signalman in this small cabin. The operation of trains on the single line is regulated by the electric key token system, which provides flexibility of train movements coupled with maximum safety, which is always paramount. Today, the Talyllyn Railway is a viable business, though completely dependent on the goodwill and freely given services of its members, who come from all walks of life. From time to time, complete vintage trains made up of all the original 1866 passenger coaches are operated, hauled by either the Talyllyn or Dolgo locomotive. An authentic journey back 125 years. This friendly line extends a warm welcome to anyone who would like to join with others in helping to ensure that this much-loved railway will live on for many years, so that future generations can enjoy a steam train ride along the delightful Valley.